coffee today.
You didn't drink one.
لا. Bigger? Or it's just the skirters or close?
Do you operate?
Yeah, open. It's just the skirters.
Iwan,
That's just this.
dibuka curtain.
If you have any questions or anything on it. It's okay. You don't really see a real relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the person's relationship with fellow human beings, which indicates that a lot of us go through the month of Ramadan habitually. We have a certain rhetoric of doing things, even the acts of worship, and we just go through the motions and bang, it's gone, and sort of life returns to normal without any real change. Without any real change. So you've heard the rhetoric over and over that Ramadan is a training camp, blah blah blah. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to examine the single habits that you do every single Ramadan, and whether you are consciously aware of what you're doing or whether you go through the motions. Now, why is that so essential for a believer? Let's revise the hadith that we all know about Ramadan. The famous hadith of Prophet ﷺ, Man sama Ramadan, can we complete it? Imanan wa ihtisaba. What does ihtisab mean? Ihtisab means conscious accountability of what you're doing. Conscious. It's not just for you enough to just do Ramadan, fasting with Iman. That's the first part. The second part is you have to do it with conscious awareness of what you're doing to get the forgiveness. There's hadith that we all know that Man qama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaba. What's the word again that's repeating itself? And that's Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has said, as we all know, there are some people who fast and they get from their fast, everything they get from it is the physical way it works. You have to be consciously accountable of what you're doing. So let's go through some of the normal tasks that most Muslims do in the month of Ramadan. Let's start with suhoor. I'll ask myself this and I'll ask everybody this. What is the aim of suhoor? Is it the food? Is it squeezing in as much biryani and as much pilau and as much kibbeh, much sambusa before Fajr times? Most people think that you get up for suhoor to get the energy sustenance. That's secondary. The primary aspect is tasahharu fa inna fi suhoori barakah, the blessing. The blessing that comes with the suhoor. So that conscious awareness of food, you're not going to die if you're consciously accountable. Does that make sense? But if you get up and you squeeze accountability of what you get from fasting and the taqwa and the purposes of Ramadan, we'll be here until next year. But let's just go through the motions of us living through in a non-Muslim country. Most of us are going to work. Most of us are going to university. God bless the sisters who are sitting at home, putting up with the children and preparing the nutrients for us. But most of us have sort of a similar routine. But what's happening consciously inside your mind makes a difference until Futur comes. Very big difference. You are those that just count through the time are those that are only going to get the hunger and the fatigue from the fasting. Where if you are consciously aware that whilst I'm at home preparing the food, this is an opportunity for me to improve. So how do you improve? Consciously aware, go fast, eat, is also governed by the etiquette and the guidance from Prophet ﷺ. Yet it baffles myself and everybody that Muslims get healthier during the month of Ramadan, get fatter. Muslims have health issues during the month of Ramadan. Why? Because they've applied the discipline. Because the majority of our is to change these. I guarantee it. That I have Ramadan. Very, very important conscious things you need to be aware of. The last thing that I need to mention is the invisible enemy. Is what? The invisible enemy. I want you to imagine that you are living in a city. Imagine with me now, you are living in a city and you are being attacked by an invisible enemy, and then you get a break. What are you going to do with that break? Some people who will rest and then wait for the break to finish, and when the enemy comes back, oh, too late, we haven't fortified ourselves. And there are some smart people, thank you, because shaitan is locked away. Because the enemy is not there. An invisible enemy that's constantly, as human beings, we struggle to fight an invisible enemy. Struggle. Shaitan is invisible in front of us, and he's throwing fitnas in front of us, left, right, with like rocks or like bullets. And we see it, we'll truly recognize it. But the challenge is, of most Muslims, Shaitan is an enemy that's there 24/7. It's something theoretical. They blame the dunya. How does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala consciously remind you of that in the month of Ramadan? You see it. Much easier. So in this month, while you're doing the acts of worship, while you're doing the fasting, while you're engaging in zakat, as much good deeds as you're getting, remember at the back of your background is, I am collecting the supplies to fortify myself when the battle resumes. Because the battle will resume. And he's going to come back wanting to make time. It is no coincidence that the majority of people after Eid comes are gone away. Not because they're bad. Not because they're bad. Not because they're evil. This is not the point of this. I am إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌ فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا. You want to hear that in English? No. No.